You have checked everything. The diaper is clean. The baby has been fed. They are not too hot, not too cold. They are held. They are rocked. The room is quiet. You have tried every single thing you can think of, and yet the crying continues, steady and relentless and completely unexplained. And you are standing there in the middle of the night with this tiny person in your arms, feeling something that is equal parts love and exhaustion and confusion and a strange, quiet panic because you cannot figure out what is wrong and you cannot fix what you cannot find. And that moment, that specific helpless, exhausted, bewildered moment is one of the most universally human experiences there is, shared by parents across every culture, every century, every corner of the earth. And yet almost nobody ever tells you the truth about what is actually happening when a baby cries for no reason. And the truth, when you finally hear it, does not just explain the crying, it changes the way you understand what a baby actually is, what they are experiencing, and what the cry itself is really trying to say. The first thing you need to know, the thing that reframes everything else, is that the phrase crying for no reason is something of a myth. Not because babies always have a reason that can be identified and fixed, but because the absence of an obvious reason does not mean the absence of a real one, and what looks like inexplicable crying from the outside is almost always, from the inside of the baby's experience, a completely logical response to something very real and very overwhelming that the baby has absolutely no other way to express. To understand this properly, you have to understand something about the newborn brain that most people are never taught. A baby is born with a nervous system that is, by adult standards, extraordinarily raw. The parts of the brain responsible for self-regulation, for filtering sensory input, for managing emotional states, for distinguishing between what is urgent and what is not, are not just underdeveloped. They are barely online at all. And this means that a baby experiences the world without any of the filters, buffers, or coping mechanisms that adults take so completely for granted that they forget they exist. Think about what your life would feel like if every sound hit you at full, unfiltered volume, if every light was too bright, if every texture against your skin was new and strange, if hunger felt not like a gentle signal from your body, but like a physical emergency. If tiredness felt not like a heaviness that you recognized and knew would pass, but like a darkness closing in from every side that you had no name for and no framework to understand. And now, imagine experiencing all of that without language, without memory of having survived it before, without any concept of time that would let you know it will end. That is the world a newborn lives in. And the cry is the only instrument they have to navigate it, the only tool in the entire kit, which means it gets used for everything. For pain, and for overstimulation, and for loneliness, and for confusion, and for the strange interior weather of a developing nervous system that is still learning how to be a nervous system. Pediatric researchers have actually identified and catalogued different types of infant cries: the hunger cry, the pain cry, the overtired cry, the overstimulated cry, the boredom cry. And parents who listen closely enough over time begin to hear the differences, begin to decode a language that has no words, and this decoding is one of the most remarkable things that happens between a caregiver and a baby, a slow and intimate translation of a signal that the baby is broadcasting with everything they have into a meaning that the adult can act on. But here is what makes the so-called unexplained cry so difficult and so important. It is often not any one of those catalogued categories. It is something broader, something that researchers call state regulation crying. And it refers to the cry that happens when a baby's entire internal system, their heart rate, their cortisol levels, their sensory processing, their sleep-wake cycles, is in a state of disorganization that the baby cannot resolve on their own and cannot communicate in any specific or targeted way. And this is where the first big twist in this story arrives, because state regulation crying is not a sign that something is wrong with the baby or wrong with the parenting. It is a sign that the baby's brain is doing exactly what it is supposed to do, which is to signal that it needs external help to regulate itself. Because the newborn brain was not designed to self-regulate, it was designed to co-regulate, meaning it was built with the expectation that another nervous system, a calm, experienced, loving adult nervous system, would be present and responsive and would essentially lend its regulation to the baby until the baby's own regulatory systems come fully online. This concept, called co-regulation, is one of the most important ideas in developmental psychology, and it was largely pioneered by researcher Ed Tronick, whose famous still face experiment demonstrated with heartbreaking clarity what happens to a baby's internal state when the responsive presence of a caregiver is suddenly withdrawn. Within seconds, the baby in that experiment goes from engaged and happy to confused, then distressed, then deeply dysregulated, crying in a way that looks for all the world like crying for no reason, because from the outside, there is no obvious trigger. But from the inside, the baby has just lost access to the external nervous system it depends on for stability. And the cry is the alarm, the emergency signal, the brain's way of saying, the co-regulation is gone. I need it back. I cannot hold myself together without it. This means that when you respond to a crying baby, when you pick them up, hold them close, speak in a low, warm voice, let them feel the rhythm of your breathing and the steadiness of your heartbeat, you are not just soothing a baby, you are literally functioning as an external regulatory system for a brain that is not yet capable of regulating itself. And every time you do this, every time you answer the cry, you are teaching the baby's brain what calm feels like, what safety feels like, building the neural pathways that will eventually allow the child to self-soothe, to manage big emotions, to return to equilibrium after being knocked off balance. Which means the response to the cry is not just comfort in the moment, it is architecture. It is the very foundation of emotional intelligence being laid down one answered cry at a time. Now here is the second twist, and this one tends to surprise people deeply. There is a specific window in a baby's early life, typically between 2 weeks and 3 to 4 months of age, when crying peaks to a level that has no clear explanation and no reliable fix. And researchers have actually given this phenomenon a name. They call it the period of purple crying, where PURPLE is an acronym that stands for peak of crying, unexpected, resist soothing, pain-like face, long-lasting, and evening clustering. And what this research, led by Dr. Ronald Barr at the University of British Columbia, revealed is that this intense peak of unexplained crying is not a medical problem, not a parenting failure, not a sign of colic in the traditional sense. It is a universal, cross-cultural, biologically programmed phase that every human baby on Earth goes through. A phase that appears in babies in Tokyo and Nairobi and London and São Paulo, in babies who are breastfed and formula-fed, in babies with attentive parents, and in babies whose parents are doing everything right, because it is not caused by any external factor at all. It is caused by the internal developmental timeline of the human brain, a programmed surge of neural activity and nervous system maturation that produces a temporary and genuine but completely normal state of heightened distress that the baby cannot avoid, cannot explain, and cannot escape from without time and the patient presence of the people who love them. This discovery, when parents truly absorb it, has the power to transform one of the most psychologically grueling experiences of early parenthood. Because the story most parents tell themselves in those dark 3 in the morning moments is, I am doing something wrong. I am missing something. I am failing this child. And the truth is, none of that is true. The baby is not broken. The parenting is not broken. The crying is a developmental event, a biological storm that the baby is passing through. And your job is not to stop the storm, because you cannot stop the storm Your job is to be the shelter while the storm passes. There is also a sensory dimension to unexplained crying that is only beginning to be fully understood, and it has to do with the sheer overwhelming novelty of existing. Because we forget, being adults who have been alive long enough to normalize almost every aspect of experience, that a newborn has never felt hunger before, has never felt the particular discomfort of a gas bubble, has never experienced the sudden transition from sleep to waking, has never known what it is to be too warm or too cold, or to have a seam in a sock pressing against their foot. Every single physical sensation, including ones that seem trivially small to us, is being felt for the very first time, without any prior experience to contextualize it, without any memory of having survived it, without any understanding that it will end. And the cry is the only possible response to all of it. The universal setting on the one-button instrument that a baby arrives with, the signal that says, something is happening inside me, and I don't know what it is, and I need you. What this all points toward is a realization about babies that is quietly radical. They are not simple. We have a tendency, culturally, to think of babies as uncomplicated, as beings of pure need and pure reaction, as creatures whose inner lives are blank and whose cries are just biological alarms without depth or nuance. But the science tells a very different story. The science tells us that the crying baby is a being of extraordinary complexity, a nervous system of immense sensitivity navigating a world of overwhelming input without the tools to manage it, broadcasting a signal of genuine distress that deserves to be taken seriously. Not because we can always fix what is causing it, but because the act of taking it seriously, of showing up for the cry even when you cannot stop it, is itself the most important thing that can happen. Researchers who study long-term outcomes in child development have found consistently that babies whose cries are responded to promptly and warmly in the early months, not necessarily solved, not necessarily fixed, but responded to, acknowledged, met with presence, grow into children with stronger emotional regulation, greater resilience, better capacity for empathy, and more secure attachment to the people they love. And this finding holds across cultures, across income levels, across parenting styles, because what the baby is learning from the response to its cry is not just that this specific discomfort will pass. It is learning something far larger. It is learning that the world is a place where distress is met with care, where signals are received, where I am not alone in whatever I am feeling. And that lesson, learned in the wordless dark of early infancy, shapes the emotional landscape of a human life for decades. So the next time you find yourself standing over a crying baby with clean diaper and full stomach and no explanation for what is wrong, you can let go of the search for the specific reason, because maybe there's not one you can name, and instead, you can understand what is actually happening. A brand new brain is in the middle of the enormous and difficult work of learning to be a brain. A nervous system without filters is being flooded by a world it did not ask to enter and is not yet equipped to handle. And the cry is not a failure or a mystery or a malfunction. It is a message, the most honest and urgent message that this tiny person knows how to send, and it says, I am here, I am overwhelmed, I need you. And the most powerful, most scientifically validated, most deeply human response to that message is simply to answer it, to show up, to hold on, and to let your presence be enough, because it always has been, and in ways that will only become visible years from now, it always will be. Subscribe for more Mind Secrets.